What's up, fellow anglers? Tony Lain coming at you again from beautiful Lake Havasu. You know, it's early spring, love it or hate it, it's that time of the year where smallmouth bass come up and spawn and get on beds, and we go ahead and do some sight fishing. You know, today I'm out here February 29th, and I looked in the water and started seeing some beds. You know, the first wave of big smallmouth are starting to pull up, and I'm going to take the next 4 minutes and talk about some of the tackle techniques and tips that I use to catch smallmouth bass off of these beds. Let's start off by talking about tackle. You know, I like catching smallmouth on spinning tackle, and I prefer a medium action spinning rod. And even though you're on beds, rod sensitivity is a must, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. Main line, I like 15-pound test braid, and I tie on a splice knot to a 10-pound fluorocarbon leader. You know, without a doubt, the best places to start looking for smallmouth on beds at Lake Havasu are those protected waters that are protected from the wind, and it's clear. The marinas, #1 place to start checking for smallmouth bass, and also the main channel, believe it or not. Even though you can see in this video right here, it's super crowded. I got, families swimming, dogs chasing balls in the water right in front of me, boats passing me. It doesn't matter. Smallmouth are still gonna bite. They're very, very aggressive when they're on beds, and if you could power pole down and just set your boat up in the right position, you'll catch them. You know, it's called sight fishing for a reason, because you're literally looking into the water and you see the bed. And sometimes you actually see the fish on the bed. And that's why, you know, a lot of times we use white colored baits or chartreuse colored baits, because we're trying to see the bait. And once that bait disappears, usually it's inside of a fish's mouth. And, you know, with that sensitive rod, you're going to feel a little tap and you set the hook. What's the most important thing about sight fishing? Sunglasses. I recommend you have 2 pair. You know, one with gray lenses for bright days, and another one with bronze lenses for those low light conditions. And here's why. Without polarized sunglasses, you're gonna have a tough time seeing that. Look at there, that's a smallmouth bed. Notice that there's sand around a dark circle. In the middle of that circle is hard rocks and hard bottom. And that's why you wanna use a tungsten weight when you're drop shotting, so you can feel it. You know, you're literally sometimes gonna be having to make a long cast on spooky fish, and you're gonna drag that weight, and you're gonna notice that you're gonna feel the hard bottom, and that way you know you're in the middle of the bed. You know, another bait that I'm always gonna have tied on when I'm out here bed fishing is a weedless stick bait. You know, like a Cinco or your favorite bait in that category. You know, I prefer the Daiwa Yamamoto Nico baits, and I'll talk about that here in a minute. And all you're gonna do is go down the bank, and with your polarized glasses, you're gonna see dark spots, and some of those dark spots are gonna be just brush piles or whatever, and you'll catch largemouth as well as smallmouth during the spawn. And here's my favorite stick bait. It's the Daiwa Yamamoto Nico Fat Worm. It comes in 4 or 5 inches long. And I rig it with no weight, Texas rig style, to make it weedless. And I like a super line hook to make it sink a little faster. And here's another one to end the video. You know, one thing I'll say about bed fishing in the springtime is as soon as you catch them, try to get them back in the water as quickly as you can. You know, it's a lot of fun to catch them. Take a quick picture. And unless you're in a tournament, you don't absolutely have to put them in your live well, let them go. Let them get back on the bed. That way we could protect this resource. Any questions, hit me up on social media like you always do. Tight lines, and have a good springtime catching these bedding fish. Take care.